Hey there, what's up guys? My name is Useless Mango and I'd like to welcome you all to today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video where I'm going to be going over everything we know so far coming in the Further Adventures in Finance and Felony DLC and speculating just how much money you're going to need to be able to purchase everything we know that's coming with this update. So I'm not even going to try to guess just how much we're going to need for literally everything because I'm sure that Rockstar do have a lot more in stock for us that we haven't yet seen yet from a Newswire post or the trailer which just came out recently. I'm just going to be going over everything we know to be coming with the DLC so far, but as always, if you do go on to enjoy the video or you find it interesting at all, then do be sure to drop the video a like rating, and if you are new around here and you like my GTA 5 content, then why not hit that subscribe button? It only takes 2 seconds and it means that you won't miss any of my future uploads. With that out of the way, let's get it started. Okay, so I thought I'd start with the new warehouses and headquarters before moving on to the overhaul of vehicles that look to be coming with this update. And I'm only going to be adding the most expensive items from everything we know coming in the update so far, because as we all know, it's better to be safe than sorry. So let's start with the new headquarters. Judging from the images that we've gotten so far and by the current apartments in-game, these headquarters could have a starting price for the lower end ones and then get progressively more expensive as you work your way up the different tiers. Now so far we've only seen high end versions of the headquarters, whether or not there will be lower end ones too, we don't know, but I'm going to say that the cheapest HQs could cost around the $500,000 mark, with the higher end ones reaching up and around the $1.5 million mark. Moving on to the warehouses next, and I think that the warehouses are going to range in size and therefore have different price points for the different sizes of warehouses. So this would be similar to the HQs like we've just mentioned, and I think that the cheaper warehouses, those being the small single story ones, could start around the $100,000 mark, and when we start getting onto the really massive warehouses like we saw in the trailer, I think we could start approaching the $1 million mark. So for warehouses, let's say $1 million for the most expensive one. Now I could be wrong, but this is what I would expect it to be. Okay, so let's now start with the cars we know to be coming with the update. So first we have the Pegassi Reaper, which so far is the only new car that we actually know the name for. Now I'm going to be comparing this car with other supercars under the Pegassi title, such as the Zentorno, Vaca and Osiris. Now the Zentorno costs around $700,000 and the Vaca is quite a bit cheaper, but I don't think that this is going to be the range of the price. I think that the price could be around the $1 million mark, as it doesn't look as extravagant, at least in my opinion, as the likes of the Osiris and for that matter the T20. So if we say that the Reaper is going to cost $1 million, and then if you want to apply all the possible customization for the car, then I think that you might need anything from around $200,000 to $400,000 on top of that, depending on the options you choose. So for the Pegassi Reaper, I predict that you're going to need around $1.4 million. Moving on to the next potential supercar that we're going to be getting with the update, and this is the green one that we saw in the trailer with the Vapid logo on it. Now this thing looks absolutely insane, and this one is definitely on par with the likes of the Osiris and T20. And since there's currently only one other supercar in the Vapid family, that being the Bullet, we have very little to base this car's price on, since I doubt that this is going to cost around $100,000. Now I can see Rockstar upping the price for this car a lot, and judging from what we've seen from the Osiris and T20, I'm going to say that this supercar is going to cost around $2.5 million. Then the customization, like before, could set you back between $200,000 and $400,000, so I'm going to rest the final price after fully maxing out this car at $2.9 million. Now let's move on to the last high-end sports car that we know is going to be coming with this update. And like before, we still don't actually have a name for this car yet. Now as I mentioned in my breakdown video I did, I don't really think that this car looks more like a supercar than it does a sports car. So for this reason, I'm going to say that this car is going to cost around $600,000 or $700,000. Just so that we get the best of both worlds, I'm going to put it around $650,000. Then of course there's the customization that you may choose to put on the car, so let's say that this car is going to cost around $950,000 after purchasing it and fully upgrading it. Right, so next up we have the new Benefactor SUV, both the armoured version and the non-armoured version. Now we don't know for certain that we're going to be getting both variants, but it is pretty likely that we will, since we've seen it happen with the Shafter, Baller and Cognoscenti with executives and other criminals. Now we don't know if there's going to be any LE or LWB versions of this car like there was with the likes of the Baller, so we won't take those into account, but we will just talk about the armoured version and the non-armoured version. So both the armoured and non-armoured version of the Baller costs around $150,000, and this is a similar price to where I would expect the new Benefactor SUV to be. So let's say that the new Benefactor SUV, both armoured and non-armoured, is going to cost $150,000, then let's add an extra $200,000 for the customization, bringing our final price for the new Benefactor SUV to $350,000. Next up we have the convertible version of the Enos Windsor, and since the standard version of the Windsor costs around $850,000, I'm going to assume that the convertible version would cost a little more. Now I can't imagine it being too much more, so I'm going to say that the Windsor convertible is going to cost around $900,000. Then let's add another $200,000 for the customization, bringing our final cost to $1.1 million. Next up we have the new and armoured version of what we think is the Bravado Rumpo, which is already in GT Online and can be purchased for $13,000 from Southern San Andreas Super Autos. Now judging from the insane amount of customization that looks to be available for this van, I'm thinking that the customization could be quite expensive for this vehicle. So I'm going to add $300,000 to the cost of fully upgrading this van, meaning that our final cost for the Bravado Rumpo is $313,000. Alright, so now we're moving on to the unnamed behemoth of a truck, and yep, it's that one right here. Now we're all surprised to see this kind of vehicle being added into the game, but sadly it does look like this is going to be a Pegasus vehicle, which does unfortunately mean no customization. Now from looking at this in the trailer and judging by the fact that it looks like the cross between an Insurgent and a garbage truck, I'm going to say that this truck is going to cost around $2 million. Now when you think about it, this may not be such a crazy concept, since the Insurgent pickup, which is the Pegasus version of the normal Insurgent since it has a gun on it, costs around $1.3 million in GT Online, and this thing looks like an Insurgent on steroids. Alright, so now we can move on to the two new aircraft we know so far coming with this update, and as with most of the new vehicles in this DLC, we don't yet know the name of them. So let's start with the new plane. It does kinda look like the Shamal that's currently in GT Online, and this costs $1.1 million. But while this new plane does look like the Shamal from the exterior, my guess is it's going to be really nicely dressed up inside, so we might have the champagne and cigars like we saw in the Luxor Deluxe. So my best guess is that this is not going to be as cheap as the likes of the Shamal and the Luxor, so my guess is that this new plane is going to cost between $2 and $3 million. So like before, let's say that this new plane coming with the Finance and Felony update is going to cost $2.5 million. Okay, so next up we obviously have the new helicopter that's going to be coming into the game, and I think that Rockstar might actually add different variants of this helicopter like they did with the Super Velito from Executives and Other Criminals. But we don't know that for sure, so my price point is going to be based on the cost of the Swift that's currently in game and the Super Velito, which puts the price of this helicopter at the $2 million mark. Alright, so just before we get our grand total, I do just want to say that I don't think we're going to be able to purchase the tugboat that's returning from Grand Theft Auto 4, so I'm not going to be including it on this list. It would be great if we could purchase it, but since it's seen in the background of the caption which introduces new VIP missions, I can't see this being used for anything other than the new missions. Alright, so that's pretty much everything we know so far coming with this update, and those are my best guesses for the prices of them, so let's quickly run them down. So for the most expensive HQ, I think we're going to need $1.5 million. For the most expensive warehouse, I think we're going to need $1 million. For the Pegassi Reaper with full upgrades, I think we'll need $1.4 million. For the new green Vapid supercar, also with full upgrades, I think we'll need $2.9 million. For the new red Grotti sports car, again with full upgrades, I think we're going to need $950,000. For the new Benefactor SUV, likewise with full upgrades, I think we'll need $350,000. As for the new convertible Enos Windsor with full upgrades, I think we're going to need $1.1 million. Now onto the Bravado Rumpo with full upgrades, I think we're going to need $313,000. For the new huge armoured truck, I think we'll need $2 million. As for the new plane, I think we'll need $2.5 million. And for the helicopter, I think we'll need about $2 million. So that brings our total to $16,013,000. Wow. So my prediction is that if you're wanting to buy the most expensive version of everything we've seen so far coming with further adventures in Finance and Felony, you're going to need at least $16 million. Now I could be wrong, and honestly I wouldn't be surprised if I was wrong, but these are my best guesses as for how much we're going to need to be able to buy everything we know so far coming with this update. And I feel that I need to emphasize this because we still don't know if Rockstar's got anything big planned other than what we've seen already, so take what I've said with a grain of salt and we'll see just how much everything actually costs come next week on June 7th when the DLC does finally drop. Alright, so I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. What do you think of my predictions? Do you think that my guesses are realistic? or do you think that the prices may be a lot different to what I've discussed? As always, be sure to let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Okay, so that's all I've got for you guys today. If you did go on to enjoy the video, then do be sure to drop the video a like rating, and if you are new around here and you like my GTA 5 content, then why not hit that subscribe button? It only takes 2 seconds and it means that you won't miss any of my future uploads. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next video.